Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto, and so much for this.
I think it's important for us to recognize and acknowledge this is working the way it's supposed to.
But is it? The president just putting a key part of that law on hold. Penalties for larger companies that do not comply won't kick in now for at least another year. To Dr. Ben Carson on if it's time to put the entire law on hold for good. Doctor, obviously he was acknowledging what you and others have already pointed out, that this just wasn't going to fly. And obviously give more companies wiggle room so that they, if they have to, make it fly. But you argue it won't fly. Why?
Well, you know, it should be pretty obvious to everybody by this time that the thing is way too expensive, way too cumbersome. We've combined all these different programs that don't work into one gigantic program, the largest governmental program in history, and now we expect it to work without testing it out. Is that ridiculous or what? And then, you know, we have Ms. Jarrett coming out and saying that, yeah, we know it's really complex and we want to cut some of the red tape and we want to simplify it. Why not think about that before you thrust this thing up on the people? And then Mark Mazur, the Assistant Secretary of, let's see, what is he? Tax policy.
Yeah, for tax policy.
Tax policy. And he's saying that, you know, we're going to have some real-world experience in 2014 so that we'll know what the effects are by 2015.
Well, so everything's delayed.
Why not find those things out before?
Right, but everything's delayed. And you know what's interesting, Doctor, is then the financial underpinnings of this are falling apart because those companies and providing that coverage was going to be the base by which you could provide all the bennies of that coverage. And it comes at a time when young people are not too keen on signing up for this, and a lot of the uninsured for whom we upended our entire healthcare system are now not so sure they want this. Low-wage workers themselves, who would be big beneficiaries of this, aren't eager to buy this. So what the hell is becoming of this?
Well, you know, this is not going to be the last delay, believe me. There's going to be all kinds of things going on with all kinds of excuses coming out about it. But, you know, the bottom line is, you know, we've allowed the government just to keep expanding and moving into our lives and controlling what we do. We need to go back and look at the Constitution. We need to read it again and understand what's going on. We need to do things that bring medical care into the free market economy, and then it will be reasonable. We need to look at places like Singapore, which gives their care for 1/4 or less than what we do, and much, much more effective because
but they're stubbornly sticking by it, Doctor. I mean, they are saying that we're going to make this by hook or crook work here. I had one Democratic representative telling me earlier, look, you know, this is the law of the land, and we will make this law work. Almost as if you're saying we're going to shove this peg into the wrong hole, but we're going to make it work. And when I said, well, you don't have much money to make it work, and says we can get the money, all but saying we can find it through higher taxes, presumably on the rich.
Right.
I don't know where this is going, but that's where it seems to be going.
Well, that's why I and several other incredibly well-versed individuals are working on an alternative so it can be shovel-ready, as some people say, when this falls apart.
Amazing. Doctor, thank you very much. And I got to give you credit. You did warn us. Not many were listening, but you did warn us. In the meantime, to the great one on this suddenly great big old mess, constitutional scholar Mark Levin on a White House out of control and now out of options.